Hello folks, today I'll be doing a new video. Today I'm going to be going over the survey results that I put a survey out there in the ADV community server yesterday. I think it was yesterday morning-ish. I said I'd get back to it in 24 hours, but it turns out you need like a premium service to reveal the answers, so the results rather. So I don't really. I'm not getting. It was like 20 euros, so I'm like, that's like what, $24 ish. Not doing that, so I'm gonna be going over the results in video form so everybody can see how people voted. The first question was, I'm just gonna jump right into it because I'm kind of busy tonight, but the first question was, what is the best archetype? Now, I think I actually did the survey myself, and I put down balanced TSS / bulky offense. I just meant TSS. That's what I think is generally the most well-rounded archetype, but of course offense is my preferred style because it gets through games faster. I'm playing some music in the background here. I'm going to turn that off. So here you have 15 for offense, 10 for spike stack / special offense, 1 for stall. Thank God there's only one person who has an incorrect opinion. Okay, so who's the best team builder? So this is kind of most people would just assume Matitos. Ugly Duckling got 4, Undisputed got 4, Osgood got 4. Osgood's a very underrated builder. I actually regret not putting Tomahome in this builder and BKC and a couple of others, but you can't just kind of include everybody, so I decided I'd come up with some new names, and I think the main one here people were looking towards is Matitos. He's got revelational builds. See all answers. Okay, so we're going to see the ones. So someone needs to put other Matitos, so they're not using their other as well. Someone says Lanier. Someone says, sorry, I misread. Someone says other for other. Someone says H-Clat. Someone says BKC. Yeah, that's one of the ones I wanted to include. And someone else says Vape Kuno. So they're the people who people think are the best team builders. But so far, Matitos wins this. So the first one was balanced TSS, that's bulky offense, and second one is Matitos. All right, so question 3 out of 30. Is it true that? Oh, I'm not going to read that one out loud. Yes, it is. No. So we've got 40 to 8. Yeah, that's roughly what 20% of people voted no. So a good 80% of people would agree that this statement is true, which is absolutely true. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would ever load up a team like that. I don't get it. Obviously, it's a preference thing, but well, I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with Milo Magdal. I think it's just boring and lame. It's not even that good either. Alright, so what should you do if you have CB Tar and Elite Tar versus Tar matchup? This one's pretty divisive because I know a lot of people think Rock Sliding turn 1, but most people, overwhelmingly almost, would say double to something else, e.g. Scarm, Loom, Zap, Pert, Earthquake, Focus Punch. Oh my god, 8 people did Focus Punch. 8 Psychopaths, 8 people I don't like. I absolutely hate turn 1 Focus Punch in a Tar versus Tar matchup. I think it's one of the most reprehensible things you can do, and it's worthy of extreme contempt. So 5th question here: should mean look Umbi stuff be banned for being uncompetitive? This one was kind of more as a little rage on the side from me, just kind of messing around. I don't think people would actually take it too seriously, but in fairness, 15 people said yes. I think Umbi stuff and even stat passing, like I don't know if stat passing should be banned, but I really don't like it. I think it takes away from the metagame a bit, but yeah, Umbi stuff is it's dumb. Mean look pass shit. I don't know why that's a thing. It just doesn't reward skill. So I'm kind of flying through these. Who's the best memer? So this is like who's the best meme team builder, meme player. We do have 5 others. We're gonna have to look at those. I couldn't include everyone here, obviously. There's lots of people who bring great memes. Markup gets 7. That's a good amount of votes. He's a great memer. Likes to use a lot of fun teams, Slacky and Cactor and etc. H-Cloud with 16 votes here. But the winner is Vape Kuno with 18. He's notorious for refusing to use OUs when he uses OUs, but not too many. I think he usually has about 2 or 3 BLs per team. I think he actually has a specific number per team, but I don't remember what it is. Lightbringer got 1 here. He's a great memer, so I don't know if he memes as much anymore, but Yeah. So someone says Lanier for other. I want to have a look at the others. I don't know. It's a pretty dumb comment. Other Disney. Oh my god, get out of here. Oh, I get it. It means posting memes. Other, someone says, I don't know why people just selected other. You were supposed to write if you were going to select other. Yeah, but maybe they just can't think of someone. Alright. Who's the most exciting player to watch? Lanier taking an overwhelming majority here with 76% of the votes. Yeah, he's incredibly exciting to watch turn by turn. He's just a very aggressive player, continues to make the predictions all the way to the post, all the way to the end, rather. He is just a very high level player as well. He's probably top 2, top 3, so that probably plays into this quite a big bit as well. H-Clock gets 6 and Triangles gets 5, so that's quite an interesting one. Alright, so what should you do if you have lead CB Gross versus Aptos? I think it depends on the team is what I say. Yeah, 32 people says it depends on the team, and 32 people are right. It absolutely does depend on the team. Double to something else is also a good one, but again, depends on the team. It's just the safe answer here, isn't it? Explode if Zap is a big threat. I didn't expect anyone to click this or this one here, well, maybe this one here, but CB Rockslide is the lowest rated one here. I think it's because that discussion yesterday about BP Zapdos, like it's not really a good move to stay in turn 1 with Metagross and Rockslide. I do love CB Metagross with Rockslide, but don't do it turn 1 versus Zapdos. A lot of them have BP, a lot of them have Magneton, as BKC was saying, and yeah, you know, like it's not even a stab slide, so it's not doing that much. Lead Mixtar versus lead Zapdos. What do you do? Correct answer here is definitely Fire Blast. Metagross is the most common switch in, more so than Swampert. It's better for momentum, and it's just more common, so Fire Blast covers the meta better, but Swampert is a very close second in terms of likelihood to come in. A lot of people say Ice Beam here because it's safe, puts Pert into range of HP Grass, maybe, but the back-breaking scenario is when you hit Metagross and then you have to switch out. So some people say switch out. Yeah, it's not even a bad play, but Fire Blast, yeah. Actually, even switching out to Skarm is a good play if you have it, but if you got Mixtar, you might not have Skarm. It's less likely, but you could still, well, you could easily have him. But more indicative of a bulky, of a kind of mixed offense. Could easily have it on TSS though, yeah, sure. But yeah, Fire Blast is the option I went for there. I think that's the right answer. What's the best Hera set? This one is pretty divisive. Everybody's pretty kind of closely tied on it. Right now, I'm actually loving Choice Band. I think it's better than ever, and I think the other sets are kind of suffering a bit more than ever. So Choice Band for me is better than usual, but yeah, it's still not my favorite set on Hera. In my opinion, the best Hera set is Subsalic. It has the most turnover. It does require more setup than the others, more support than the others, but it just, man, if that thing gets a +2, +1, it just wins in most games. Even just the +1 plus Guts Boost Mega Horn just runs through shit. And it has the perfect amount of speed at +1 to outspeed like Aerodactyl, Jolteon as well, so it outspeeds the entire tier. Really, really good. SD, I don't really like SD Cross that much. I just don't think you get too many turns for it, and then you've got to run Rock Slide as well, which doesn't even OHKO guard +2. So there's no real, I don't like it really. It's good though, it cuts through stallish shit. 4 attacks Leftovers is really good because it just kind of eats through the bulky waters. It's like a physical mon that breaks through the bulky waters in a way that maybe T-Tar Metagross cannot. So that's a good set, but yeah, I agree with Subsalic being the best one. How should you run Breloom? Adamant with a bit of bulk is the most common here. I disagree. So people are saying Adamant Max. I actually think Jolly with a bit of bulk. It's the least common answer here, but I actually think it's the best, and I'll explain why. I think that Breloom hitting above 243 is pretty much a necessity. Outspeeding double-edged Tar if it's Dragon Dance, outspeeding Mixed Tar, outspeeding fast clay, well, maybe not fast clay at all, but Metagross, Magneton, things that would just cripple you, and there's no reason to be slower than those things. You already hit 359 attack with Jolly. Your Focus Punch still does like 60 to his Zapdos. You still get the Spore off. You still get most of what you want from Breloom. So I don't know why anyone. Well, I don't want to say I don't know why anyone uses these sets, but these are just putting you in speed tier areas you just don't need to be. If I was going to run Adamant, I don't know what this Breloom hit. Is it 239? I forgot. So if I was running Adamant, I would probably run Max, but yeah, I think Jolly with like 40 bulk EVs or like 50 bulk EV, 52 bulk EVs, something like that. I think it's 52 is the minimum, or is the maximum, sorry. But I think about 40-ish is safe. So maybe 40 HP and the rest attack and speed. So yeah, that's how I would run it personally. What's the best DD tar spread? So this one is actually more divisive than I thought it was going to be. More like kind of bit of a throw up between Jolly Lum and Adamant Lum. In terms of wall breaking, I think Adamant Lum is way better. Like, well, obviously, but like it can often be paired with like Aerodactyl, something that's much faster, +1. Jolly Lum is great because you outspeed Starmie. You outspeed so many things that are like a lot of things try and creep 2-2-1, try and hit 2-2-2, 2-2-3. Vaporeon is one of them. Well, it just does naturally. A lot of things kind of sit in that area to try and creep out of tar. So I just think the safe option is Jolly Lum. I don't like leftovers on tar. Well, it's not bad, especially if you're using tar for like if you're more focusing on just kind of like getting damage out with it and helping versus Snorlax and whatnot. But Lum is better in terms of sweeping potential, which is what I like tar for. Not even like wall breaking is good too. If I was running wall breaker, I'd run Adamant Lum or maybe Adamant Leftovers. But for sweeper, I think Jolly Lum is the best set. So I voted Jolly Lum. I'm part of that 44.9, so nearly 45% of people. All right, next question here. What's the best Jinx set? So there's other here. I went through the others already. They're not very interesting, but I'll go through them again. Lovely Kiss, Sub, CM, Ice Beam that's the best set for sure, because your opponent's basically forced to eat one sleep or like to let one mon go to sleep and then switch and then take an Ice Beam from another, which can like if it's Metagross, it's putting you in range of Dougie. If it's Tar, it's putting you in range of Dougie. If it's Jirachi, it's putting you in range of Dougie, which means at least one kill, or at least one sleep, one sleep plus at least one kill if it goes well. That's obviously the ideal scenario, but yeah, that's why this set's really good. And it's definitely OU. A lot of people consider certain mons, once they go far enough down the table, they're like, I don't know, will I really use it? Is it really worth putting in my VR or whatever? This is definitely worth it. It's unbelievable how many things you can actually just 6-0 or just cut right through with this set. And if your opponent doesn't know how to play around Jinx well, this set will just crucify them. Because 3 attacks, it's pretty good because if you make the prediction on the switch and get it right, you can actually 2-hit KO the second counter. Or I think HP Fire almost 2-hit KOs Metagross. Perish Trap, don't know if that's the best set, to be honest, given Jinx speed, but at least it's up there. Let's see what the others were. I didn't get to see the others. Well, I did, but I didn't think that they were that special. Someone says other Lovely Kiss CM Ice Beam HP Fire. Okay, that's interesting. Probably should have included that because I only included 3 options. Lovely Kiss 3 attacks, says somebody. That was one of the options, wasn't it? Where's the others? Others, Thief Kiss Beam Subsian. No, that's not an opinion I can understand. Thief is Nomon's best set in ADV, bar like the NUs. Alright, so is Cloyster too frail to do anything useful in modern meta? I kind of phrased this question wrong. I think that's why you're getting the 81 no's, 81% no's. What I meant to say is that, like, is it too frail to do what it's supposed to, or maybe like do optimally? I don't know how to articulate it, but I just basically what I really meant is in the modern meta, is Cloyster failing because of the fact that most perts are 2-hit KO in it or whatever. and the fact that it just never really gets 2 layers of spikes anymore, or never gets a boom off on anything good. So I think I phrased that wrong. That's why I went like this. But I don't recommend using Cloister. I don't think it's a good pathway to consistency. But that being said, the right answer to this question is no. Is Wispgar significantly less inhibiting these days? 35% of people would only 35% of people would say yes. So people think that it's just as inhibiting as it was a while back. I'm talking about like TSS, like slightly after TSS days. I'm not talking about like way back in rest talk shit. 64% would say yes. Yeah, so when people say like, oh, this team gets absolutely boned by Wispgar, it just cripples all my offense. My Metagross, my Swampert, my Salamence, my Snorlax, my Tyranitar. On paper, yes, it does, but I rarely see games anymore where Wispgar cripples teams. Even like standard Fizz offense, like even Fizz offense with a bit of leftovers usage. Wispguard just doesn't do what it's supposed to do on paper anymore. I think the meta is just too fast for it. I don't know. I mean, with all the offensive parts, like their special attack is so much more valuable than their attack, and sometimes they don't even need to use Earthquake or whatever, and they can just kind of, fire off a Hydro versus Gar or whatever it is. Like it doesn't even matter the scenario. I just don't think it does what it's supposed to do anymore. So I actually voted yes, but people are voting no. So I don't know. I think it's much worse these days than it used to be, and I think that it never does what people always fear that it does on paper. Well, not never, actually, it still does it a bit, but it doesn't cripple teams the way you would imagine it does, I think, personally. What is the best Solomon set? I actually thought most people would say Choice Band. BKC would say Choice Band, and a lot of people would agree with him, but according to people here, I think Mixments is the preferred set. It's interesting that people are choosing Mixments. I think it's because people look at this question and they say, okay, well, what do I use most? And then it's Mixments, because Mixments is so easy to use. You just click attack buttons, and you always seem to have a move that's like super effective against something. You simultaneously almost 2-hit KO Blissey whilst doing 90% to Purd, doing 80% to Tar, doing 75% to Metagross, like declaw smacking shit. It's a really easy set to just slap on anywhere. Choice Band is reserved for specific teams, often teams that have mag support. I've seen it without mag support. I don't like it without mag support. DD-Ments is definitely not the best set, but it is a great defensive utility as well as just a constant threat. And if your opponent makes the mistake of pivoting around too much and letting everything get slightly below 100, DD-Ments is your prime guy to come in and just clean up, and it has the ability to just sweep the last 4 or 5 if it has the right scenario. But so often there's too many ice moves, too many T-waves, too many explosions, and it just never gets a chance to set up. So that's why it's at 4. Wish is just a non-set, really. I don't think it's actually a set anymore in the modern meta. It should probably be disregarded. What is the best poke for obtaining momentum? This should have been a very obvious one. It's obviously Zapdos. Yeah, a lot of people were saying Tar, just by nature of the fact that it's like the best poke in the tiers, so it's like your momentum gainer, but it's not really how it works. Momentum is kind of a specific type of in-game play that puts you in the driving seat or puts you in the attacking position. Tar doesn't innately do that. It's not a natural. It's the best poke, and I'll actually find it funny that it's green here. I didn't even design it like this for Metagross to be blue and Tyranitar to be green. I actually would have made Zapdos yellow if I did, but it's kind of like I don't know. Tar, it doesn't gain momentum as much as it just kind of like is momentum. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, Zapdos is the obvious choice here. Baton Pass gives you the double switch for free, and then just your speed and constant threat of basically 2-hit KO in everything bar Blissey with like, you know, your special attacks. That's not a correct statement, but basically it's just it always gives you your preferred switch if you get that baton pass off on a switch. What is the best Jirachi set? 16 said Superachi, which is the most popular answer, but 15 said Asterachi. I think I said Asterachi as well because that's the one I feel that just kind of does the most out of all of these sets. Superachi is so underrated. Its main problem is that like it doesn't have a really hard hitting attack. That's why I often run Thunder on them. Psychic's pretty bad because the coverage it gives you is pretty terrible, and you need like +2 to kill so many things, including like I think you need +3 to kill Zap and +2 to kill Mence, maybe +3 to kill Mence as well. So it's doesn't really work that way. You're better off Ice Punch, Grass, Fire, Thunder, shit like that. But you do have to choose between 3, so you kind of have to bluff or have support somewhere else. CM Wish can honestly just win games from a very early stage in the game. This is a mon that every team has to know how to deal with. Obviously every team has to know how to deal with all of these, but this is the main one. When you think of my Jirachi week, this is often what you're thinking of. Do I have an Earthquake, Adatar? Do I have a T-Wave Bliss? Do I have a lot of Roar users and Spikes? Do I have CBEQ from Metagross? Do I have Fire Blast from Salamence? Do I, Earthquake, Aerodactyl? Do I have all those things? Because they're often what you need to beat this. Sub CM2 attacks. This is a set I'm very enamored by. Really, really good. I first saw H-Cloud using it. I thought it was his set, the Sub CM Thunder Ice Punch set, but he told me he saw it on an Asta team like donkeys years ago. So yeah, I love that set. I use that set a lot, and it just wins games. It's the ultimate Ice Punch, Serene Grace Punisher. He's slow, defensive solidity, begging to get hacks. I don't know why 26.5% of people said no. He is absolutely begging, or she, or whatever. Well, it's genderless, isn't it? I don't know. What do people call Celebi? She? I don't know. This genderless I don't know what I'm saying, but no, Celebi is definitely begging to get hacked. 36 say yes, 13 say no. So that's just slightly less than 1/3 would, slightly more than 1/3 would say no. I don't know. Sorry, what am I saying? No, I can't even maths. No, that's not the right number at all. Sorry, it's not slightly less than 1/3, but no, it's it's forced to recover on things that do like 45% to it. If you're going really SPDF, then it still has to come in on a spike and sand so often. So that's just a natural weakness in itself. It just doesn't have enough offensive output as well, so you do have to keep recovering, keep lead seeding, and then every time you recover, it gives a switch a free chance to come in, like a Moltres, a Salamence, an Aerodactyl, T-Tar, a Metagross, Skarm, Charizard, you name it. So it is just begging to get axed, and it gets frozen. It's like a Vapokuno theorem. It gets hacked once in every 3 games, I think, is what he said. But it just gets totally... I mean, if you look at defensive mons that get frozen, crit, blown out by RNG, this is going to be one of your main ones. When I say defensive, I don't just mean defensive, I mean like specially defensive as well, like Asta's Fear, is it the Fear Celebi set? I think Asta had something to do with it. They're just begging to get axed, man. I think you should absolutely have voted yes to that question. What's the best replay of these 4? So this is a pretty interesting one. 18% of people said Markov's CB struggle win, or 18 people, sorry. 17 said Ladder Knight versus X-Line, which is a legendary replay, one of my favorite ever. Jabba versus Ojama, this is a hilarious game, which Ojama plays so amazingly to get out of after getting drum passed by Jabba in SPL, which is just like, Ojama was so angry, man. He thought it was just, yeah, he was really angry. This one is a legendary one. Famous Callus video about it, why Lord Ninjax is awful and needs to shut the F up. This one actually didn't do as well as I thought it would do. I thought it would be much higher because it's a really famous one, but yeah, That's interesting. Maybe people aren't as familiar with it in the server. Yeah, that was a horrific game. So, what is the worst team to play against? I actually would say Blightbringer's Mono Red Steel. I would actually pick the least likely option here. CC Regicact has 10. This is a very split answer, but most people would say Agilipass, Zapdos plus Marowak. That is a pain to play against because it can just bypass all of your team's dangerous aspects and just kind of run through it, and then you just feel like a dumbass when you get swept by a mon that's like D rank. So yeah, obviously this is ZF's Double Water Style. Your brother for ZUD and SPL. It's like this Suicune, Swampert, Magdoll team. Yeah, I've called it prostate cancer myself because that team it's disgusting. I think Asta was on record saying, "I don't even have tits, and it gave me breast cancer." So yeah. Of these latter legends, who do you miss most? So 16% of people said, 16 people said Kurtz. 10 said Musical Tide. 8 said I Bid Him. 7 said Bomber, and I think Bomber is still around to some extent, or maybe he's like still popping around, but I mean like on ladder. That's what I meant by this. So we have 6 others. Who are the others? I think they're kind of. Someone says none. Alright, Satan. Someone says too young for this. Someone says Phantomon. Not sure who that is. It's probably before my time. Kurtz, a bit Other, I came too late to know these players. Oh, that's rough, because they're all really cool. Other says I'm not a boomer. Who wants to bet that's Watchog? Other says Hackspot. Okay, sure. Alright, let's go back to the top. Yeah, those others were as expected. Let me bring this back down. I hate this goddamn website. God, I'm so far behind. Where are we? Okay. Question 23, 7 off. What is the best Metagross set of these 4? Choice Band, 26. 26 people know what they're talking about. Protect is surprisingly not higher than I thought it would be. Protect is... It has the ability to just win games, really does. It's an incredibly underrated Metagross set, Protect Leftovers. This doesn't necessarily mean Impish. I said Protect because you can just be like max HP, or you can even have less than max HP. Well, probably wouldn't have, but Protect is a really good set on meta. You can even have Spidef on that set. Agiligross, this includes, yeah, all sets of Agiligross, Lum, whatever. I didn't actually include Asta's Salicross, which is kind of, I probably should have put it over Mixed, because Mixed is not a set that should have 7 people who think it's the best set. Mixed is definitely the worst set of these. Yeah, I should have really included Asta's set, but I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it. Is it ever okay to stay in on Zapdos on turn 1 with CB Ments? Okay, so this is a really split question. It's almost exactly 50-50. It's one off being 50-50. So about 50 people voted, and about half said yes, half said no. Just slightly more said no. I think BKC, I don't know, was he talking about this matchup, but most people would say no, it's never okay. Or sorry, just about. Most people would say no, never okay, but 24% of people think that it is okay. I think Jolly CB Ments doesn't kill, and Ada is usually just going to get T-waved or baton passed on. So I personally would probably say no. I think I said no. I don't think it's a good play. Obviously it's technically okay in quotation marks, but I think it's a bad play for nearly every practical purpose, so I don't think it should be done. Is it ever okay to stay in with Tar turn 1 if your opponent has meds? 59% of people would say no. So that's 29 people would say no. That means 59% of people would agree that Linear Curve would suggest that Linear Curve in his first match in SPL 9, I think, versus Jirachi made a misplay staying in, or just shouldn't have stayed in. Maybe he was just Superman's weak, I can't remember. 14 people say yes, and 6 people say yes if you have YOLO Scarm. These two options are different because I kind of wanted to see who was just going to say yes because of YOLO Scarm and who's going to say yes irrespective of having YOLO Scarm. What is the best lead? I think. So what do they say? Zapdos is the best lead according to people. Tyranitar is the second best lead. Metagross surprisingly lower than I thought it would be. Metagross beats most of the big five if it's CB. So if it's CB slide, it actually beats Zapdos too. But as we saw from earlier, you shouldn't stay in versus Zapdos turn 1 if you CB Metagross. Solomon's, and I think the last of the big five is Kuhn. People often say Skarm, often say Kuhn. It's funny, it's almost like a big six, because people are so split between the last two. Does the lack of team preview add an extra element of experience-driven skill to the game? I put this up because some people were saying that later gens required more skill. Now that is necessary. That actually is a true statement based on the fact that later gens just have more content in them. Well, content is a weird word to use. They have more kind of aspects to them. They have it's a broader range of this, that, and the other. You've got more moves, just more splits, more abilities, whatever. More factors to the game. But this is just addressing team preview as an element to the gen and not the gen itself, and an element of the gen and not the gen itself. And 46 out of 49 people would say yes, it does. So that seems like an obvious one to most people. Last 3 questions here, just loading. What is the most inconsistent aspect of Venusaur? Now the right answer here is sleep powder accuracy. That's absolutely the right answer. The other two are just, if you voted for either of these two, you're wrong, straight up. It's definitely sleep powder accuracy, because sleep powder is almost always the first move it clicks. You can Giga Drain versus Tar if you feel like it's going to stay in and it's like a weak set or whatever, or maybe you want to go into Overgrow, but it's not even worth it. Sleep powder is almost always the first move you're going to click, and it's just insanely inaccurate. From using Venusaur for probably way more games than I should have on ladder, I realized that you shouldn't be running Venusaur, period. Well, you can use it, but you're just not going to be consistent. I wouldn't use it consistently. Status vulnerability, this is Wisp and T-Wave mainly. It gets totally fucked by those. Even Ice Beam as well, because it's forced to stay in on a lot of Blissey Ice Beams. T-Wave is the main one from Zapdos, cripples it. And limited useful attack range. This is also a pain in the ass, but it's not anywhere near as bad as these two. Limited useful attack range is funny because Venusaur doesn't do anything after he gets a sleep off. Oh, here's a Leech Seed. You're forced to switch. Okay, now you finally switch to something that is stalling at the Leech Seeds, or something that doesn't get affected by Leech Seed, and now I'm forced to switch again. So all I've got is a sleep off, and the mon's asleep is probably broken a turn, and my Venusaur is out. Comes in against Zap 1 or 2 more times, comes in against Pert maybe once or twice. That's it. It's done. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't beat anything. I don't like it. Leech Seed. A lot of people say just spam Leech Seed and then start sleep powdering after, and then just keep spamming Leech Seed and just whatever. I don't know. I don't think that's a way good players imagine games going when they win. So, for a good player, you have to be able to envision how you'll win the game. If your game plan is to just Leech Seed shit and hope that people hope that your opponent keeps switching into things that are crippling it with Leech Seed, that's a shit game plan. What is the best Claydol set? Adamant, EQ, Shadow Ball, Refresh, Spin. So this is technically Psychic as well, or this could be Psychic. Either of these could be Psychic. It really depends. I just put Shadow Ball on there because it's like the filler move for hitting Gar, but I suppose Wisp does destroy this. So Psychic, but most guards wouldn't bother Wisping, so again, Shadow Ball is usually pretty safe. Jolly Adamant, Earthquake, Shadow Ball, Rapid Spin, Explosion. People don't think that Refresh is as good as Explosion. I think I agree. Explosion does so much, gives you like the emergency mends check, emergency zap check, well not check, emergency zap killer, bulky water killer, Blissey killer. It does obviously mean that you lose to Skarmory 1v1 if it's got Toxic, but most have Drill Peck these days anyway, so you're better off running Explosion for the most part. I don't say, I'm gonna say for the most part. Defensive, Ice Beam is not a necessity here, but what I mean by defensive was like relaxed or careful or whatever people run. I don't use defensive. I think it's terrible. But probably Boom actually would be the last. I don't know why I put Ice Beam, but Yeah. Okay. And finally, this is kind of a big question. It's kind of doesn't really matter, but which one of these excellent community contributors merit the most appreciation? Callis, he is an amazing community contributor in the sense that he has run 3 invitationals, 2 of them pretty much all out of his own money. Third one, I don't think he ended up spending a penny in the end. Put so much time into the game, more so than he probably should, based on the numbers of people who play this game. But it doesn't stop him because he's just incredibly hardworking, diligent, but so much of a go-getter. Yeah, Callis is great. He goes from YouTube to running, Pokemon Perfect. He's got an incredible background. Silesius here, sadly Ceus, as Callis would say. Now Silesius is an amazing contributor. I think people are underrating him. They've only given him 1 here, but I think that's more out of people not knowing what he does. He does graphics. He's been an admin on the ADV server. He's published so many posts. He put the Kingdra one out there about rain and whatnot. He is a great member for the community. He's a really nice guy as well. So I think he deserves more votes than that. But I suppose he's got a lot of stiff competition here, so maybe not. No votes for others. People were happy to vote amongst these 4. Vapicuno, I spelled his name wrong. Why? That's the second misspelling I've made in this, I think. BKC pointed out one earlier where I called Astmamatitos. So Vapicuno loses narrowly to BKC here. Vapicuno, God, where do you start with this guy's contributions? He's done all of the statistics for the VORs, which were just insane. In fact, they were groundbreaking. He's published his team building compendium, a load of different team building things. He's published an insane amount. I couldn't even go over all of his contributions. And he's a community member admin and a moderator on Smogon. So he's actually just doing everything at the moment. BKC, this guy. Yeah, I think it's fair to say he probably deserves this based on... I think I voted for Vapicuno, but BKC probably deserves this. From consistently for years providing the generation with... and I'm speaking about Gen 3 here. Providing the generation with great... with his great skill was a pleasure to watch and is a pleasure to watch. His YouTube channel now, which is incredibly informative and entertaining. His contributions, say most recently on the Après SPL ADV thread, which was just, I've never seen someone put so much work into a single post on that site. He's been great. He's been really amazing. I think it's he's even probably making a good living from this game at this stage, and he's probably up there amongst some of the only people who are. I'd say he's in a group of maybe 5 or 10 max who actually make a living off this game, or at least even a decent amount of money to get by on. So yeah, happy for him in those regards. So that sums up the 30 questions of the ADV questionnaire, survey, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all got satisfied, are satisfied by the answers you now see. You can go back and look at these yourself by going back in the video. It's interesting. I definitely was surprised by some of the picks, and I think people should do, just on another note, I think people should do another one of these with more questions and different questions sometime in the future. But it was a lot of fun, and you can use Survey Planet if you want to do this yourself, but it's going to require you to pay money if you want to publish the results, so you're going to have to make a video or whatever if you want to let other people see them. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.